Hi, this is Pat Ray from Pat's. Today we're talking about substance abuse. As usual, I need you to do that progress note. I'm going to talk today about methods to improve daily living. And one of the things that I'm going to launch into is what is called the pleasure principle. We do stuff because it feels good. And when we do that, we survive, we live. If things like food and sex did not feel good, we would not survive. So one of the things that humans do is seek pleasure. Now, in this process, many times people cope with things in their life by seeking pleasure. For example, if I am having a struggle in my life, I may cope with it by using something that feels good, because we all want to feel good in one way or another. So when I am having trouble, I may be using or abusing things that were meant for survival. I may be abusing them, like food, like sleep, whatever, overdoing it. The other thing is that in my search to have the life worth living, I may have used substances to deal with things that might be upsetting or lacking in my life. So let's talk about that for a minute. On your paper, I need you to write down 3 things that you need to live your best life. And when you get done with that, I need you to write down 3 things that are getting in the way of your best life. Okay. Want to talk a minute about what happens when we are not able to get the thing that we want. What happens when we can't get our needs met? So, for example, maybe I have certain needs and wants, and I can't get them met, so I choose another way that is destructive to me. For example, many times people may have been taught or picked up the belief that it is wrong to ask for what you want. It is wrong to tell people what you need, that it's selfish, that people won't like you if you do that. So beliefs may be incorrect, but they drive us. So when something happens and I don't like it, I hold on to it. I collect straws. I collect the first straw, the second straw. People say or do things. I don't like it. I don't say anything. So I collect another straw. And I just keep doing that. And I keep doing it. And the straws keep adding up until one day, boom, the last straw. And I blow up. How do I cope? I lash out at others. I get high, I get drunk. I go shop. I gamble. I do something that feels good in order to cope with this. And I may have been doing that as I collected the straws. This happened today, so I pick up a bottle of wine on the way home from work. This happened today, so I get online and I shop. This happened today, I go buy some lotto tickets. And what happens is the thing that we were doing to make us feel better turns into be a problem. And if we have that big explosion, then we have a real problem. So how do we improve our life? the methods to improve daily living, to get the life worth living. Okay? One of those is through communication. As I said before, asking for what we want, asking for what we need may be uncomfortable, may be something that doesn't sit well with us, may be something that we've been told is wrong and we shouldn't do it. So what happens instead is we ask for things in the wrong way. We blow up at people. We become aggressive with people. We expect people to know and be able to read our minds. Okay. Those things generally do not work. So what does work is improving our communication, asking for what we need and want in a way that is respectful to self and others. Okay. One of the things we're going to talk about today is asserting ourselves. Now, we have assertiveness, we have aggression, and we have passive. Passive communication, and we have passive aggressive communication. So one of the techniques that we may have used is aggression. We hold on to it until we just blow up, and then we tell that person everything that has been on our mind forever, and even some stuff before then, and we blow them away with it. The result of that is we feel better in the moment, we have regrets later, the other person is blown away or says, forget you. The next thing, that's aggression. The next thing is maybe we just are passive. We just are the doormat. We just take it. And what we do is turn it inward. We do stuff that hurts ourselves, either through hurting ourselves physically, or drinking, or using drugs, or sleeping all the time, withdrawals, staying away from people, avoiding things, whatever it might be. We just take it. And after a while of taking it, a long while, it's like a pressure cooker. That steam builds up, and that lid is on, and it stays on, and the pressure is building, and again, we may explode, either hurting self or others. The next is passive-aggressive. Passive, I can't tell you to your face what the problem is or what my needs and wants are. The aggressive part, I'm going to go behind your back and do something. I'm going to say something, I'm going to cut you down, I'm going to get revenge, I'm going to do something evil behind your back. But I'm going to skin and grin in your face. Passive-aggressive. And then there's this thing called assertiveness that many of you have heard about. And that is where I speak directly. I don't hint, I don't manipulate, I don't go behind your back, I don't do any of that stuff. I don't get in your face and scream and holler and call you out of your name. I don't do those things. Instead, I say what I need and want in a respectful manner. So, my husband is late picking me up most evenings. He's late picking me up. Sometimes he's 5 minutes late. Sometimes he's a half hour late. I've worked a long day. I'm tired. And when he's a half hour late, I feel angry. I feel disrespected. I feel hurt. And I'm thinking, I'm not important enough for him to be here on time. He just takes me for granted. I mean nothing to him. So, after a few times, several times, he picks me up and I blow up. and scream all of these things to him about who he is. He's a no good dog. If he cared about me, he'd be here. I don't know why I ever do anything nice for you, because you certainly don't treat me the same way. So I'm screaming all of that and have a match back and forth. That doesn't turn out well, and it doesn't solve the problem. It's not good, healthy communication. So instead, one of the things about assertiveness is, number one, I nip it in the bud. When it first starts to happen, I speak then. I speak in a way that I own my part in it. My part in it is this. I feel hurt, disrespected, and angry when I have to wait after working a long day for my ride. What I need is to be picked up on time. Or if my ride is going to be late, I need to know that early so I can make other arrangements to get home, because I'm tired. So instead of blowing up in his face, 5 minutes, I don't care about 5 minutes. 30 minutes, I definitely care. So the first time that he is more than 5 minutes late, I say to him, I'm feeling really tired when I get off work. What I really need is to be able to get home, get my ride on time. Would you be willing to give me a call? Let me know that you're going to be late, and then I can make other arrangements to get home. That is assertiveness. It says how I'm feeling, says why, and it says what I want and need. Nip it in the bud. Those of you who have heard of Barney Fife, he said, nip it, nip it, nip it. Go look Barney Fife up and nip it in the bud, and I'm sure you'll see a little scene. Okay, so that is one way to improve communication. One way to improve our daily living. The next is identify your triggers to use or what might lead into certain thoughts. You say, I'm not an addict. I'm not an alcoholic. I don't have triggers. Think about it. Triggers can be feeling tired, feeling irritated, being stressed, being really, really happy and celebrating, getting money in our pockets. The point is, we use substances, we use gambling, we use shopping as a way to do all of these things. It's okay if I'm not an addict and I'm not an abuser. I mean, a glass of wine, if I am not an alcoholic, if I'm not an addict, if I'm not an abuser, is okay for me, unless I'm in treatment, and then no use while you're in treatment. However, if that's my go-to, the first time things don't go my way, the first time I feel irritated, the first time I'm sad in the day, whatever it is, then it is no longer social using. It's now abusing, because I'm using it to deal with life rather than using coping strategies and skills. Using a substance is not a healthy coping strategy. It is not a skill to deal with life. So learning how to deal with life and using a glass of wine or having a nice dinner with your loved one or something like that, that's a whole different situation. The next part of is using certain thought-stopping techniques in order to prevent these triggers. So When I feel triggered to use a substance to deal with a life event, I think it through. I think it all the way through. And in that way, I make a choice to do something different. And do something different, something healthy. Instead of feeling anxious and stressed out, instead of having a drink, smoking some weed, eating a chocolate cake, instead of doing those things, I will instead just take a quick whip around the block and look at the scenery. I might instead go shoot a few hoops. I might instead watch my favorite Netflix, whatever. Do something different. So again, going back to the fact that certain things drive us, we have beliefs that drive us not to do the things that would be the most healthy for us. Becoming aware of those beliefs that drive us to avoid making ourselves comfortable and living the best life we can in a healthy manner. So identifying those beliefs that keep us from doing that, and then be willing to take an honest look and make a change. Ultimately, it is our job to make our life worth living. So by analyzing what is going on in our lives, what are the things that we need, and what are the things that are getting in our way? I asked you that in the beginning. Now I want you to write about 3 positive choices that you can make. Not that you want to change somebody else, not that it's somebody else's needs to change or do. You. How can you change them? And write those down. And when you get done, of course, you send that assignment to me, and I will be looking forward to getting it by email, text, or email or mail, or come to the office between 9 and 1, Monday through Friday, and drop it off. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.